Hello, howdy, and welcome to another Thursday RCO Radio, coming at you live here on a Thursday at 4:30. Why not? Whatever. Rob Morales, RCO Network, talking to entrepreneurs and small businesses about their business and their lives and the things they got going on in this world. I have two extraordinary guests, part of our memberships, part of our group. Please welcome Miss Tori and Mr. Terry. There we go. There's one. And there's two. They're back here. So they're here from Goosehead Insurance Company. Did I say that right? Goosehead? And we're here to talk about not just insurance, but who they are as people and the kind of the journey they've been on. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're members with the RCO Network. So I appreciate that. Want to share a little bit about yourselves, like kind of what your methodology and who you are as people. I'll let one of you go first. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Ladies first.
Well, like you said, Terry and Tori. We usually do say Terry Tori because it is part of the LLC too.
Yeah.
Keep it in order, Terry Tori.
Oh, Terry Tori. Yeah. Well, because you guys, it's very similar, Terry. And then I told you, like, I go on like auto mode, and I'm like, right, just flat out.
Triple T's.
And so we're here to talk about a little bit about you guys, and you started this whole insurance thing. How long ago now?
I got licensed last year, around September or so, and then it was a little bit after that we decided to open an agency together. Yeah. So officially, the agency opened around the end of August of this year.
So the exciting thing is, like, you just started your business. What was it, 4 or 5 months ago?
Yes.
And you decided to do this with your partner. Life partner.
Yes.
And that's an amazing feat, which also brings its benefits and costs too. I can only imagine starting a business with my wife, and she may or may not be watching, but she usually doesn't, so I can get away with saying some things. Some of the benefits of actually doing that. I mean, you guys have started on this journey together, life journey, because you guys met during COVID. We can get to that in a second. Yes. But you decided to open this up together. What was the motivation behind that?
I think for me, and the motivation was to spend quality time together, and just, we get along so famously that it just seemed natural.
I think because of the pandemic as well too, it made us connect more, and we can work together, and we can be in a place like literally 24/7. And I'm like, if I can deal with this person 24/7 and doesn't enter my skin, I think I can work with them too as a business partner.
I think I need to have you talk to Violet. Everything has its expiration limit, I've seen couples where it goes both ways. It's like, I never see in the middle, by the way. It's always really good, or like they're at each other's throats. Like, hey, they're trying to figure out the business together. Because I think when you have like two energies, you definitely aren't always on the same page, right? How do you guys manage to do some of that?
No, I think one thing is, I guess, it's not letting it marinate too much. If you have like an argument or some sort of a disagreement or whatever, if you let it marinate, or you're trying to make it something that's not even there.
So what drives you crazy that he does?
Actually, both him and I is the driving, either when I drive or when he drives. I think those are like the major like arguments. It's just the driving part of it.
Okay, so who's the batshit crazy driver? You are?
She drives like a different person when I'm in the car.
Ever see that Goofy special? Like, I forgot what it was. Like, he turns into something. Like, he's like Mr. Ordinary. He's like, look, all fun. And then he gets behind the wheel.
He's all rage.
Is that Tori?
Yes. I mean, we have because we have an electric car too, and there's been a couple of times when I ran out of battery. I almost ran out of battery, and he's like, I've never had that happen to me before. He's had the electric car for a while. I'm like, I guess I don't drive the same way as you.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're when you get the car, you're like, okay, I'll take the car, and then you turn it on. There's like 2% battery.
Right. Usually I have to go out to the garage and plug it in to make sure it's all ready.
Been there too. And then it's your fault too. On top of it.
Sometimes. It's just like the gas, right? When you get the car, you got to go to the gas station because the wife used it last and didn't put gas in it. It's kind of the same thing.
And then you guys met, you said just before COVID, right? So you started this life adventure just before this whole crazy stuff happened, and then you guys got shut down. How did you guys meet?
Online.
Yeah. I mean,
and then we found out we had some mutual friends, so it made it even more natural.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I was like, we met on a birthday before, and we just didn't connect. We sat next to each other, but I guess there wasn't the spark yet. And then like a year later, that's when we reconnected again online, and here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, going on 3 years.
And see, that's the thing too with the pandemic or pandemic couples. If you ask them, we've been technically together for 7 years. We've already passed the 7-year itch.
Right.
Technically, time-wise.
Oh boy.
Let me evaluate.
Here we go.
Evaluate. Well, how do I say that? Let me explain that a little bit. So, if you think about a normal relationship, you're dating.
You guys aren't a normal relationship.
Well, you know what I mean. When you first start dating, you're just
it was my natural.
No pandemic relationship.
You're not living.
That is true.
You're not living together. You're dating, and you might see them on the weekend. You might see them some nights during the week. But when the pandemic happened, we were basically shuttered together. So we were 24/7 right off the bat, and it's either gonna work or it's not.
Yep.
And it worked. We get along famously.
And then now you guys start a business together.
Now we're in business together.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's the best thing too. Because again, we bounce ideas off each other, and then when I'm stressed something with work, he's there to catch me, and he knows exactly where I'm coming from, and vice versa. Like I'm like, I'll take this one.
I mean, I think the big thing for me is the technology, the logins, the passwords, and she senses my frustration with some of that stuff, so she makes it easier for me that way a lot of times. So.
Yeah, and so like you guys were, obviously starting a life together, and then a couple of years down the road, you're like, hey, let's just do this insurance. How does that conversation take place? Because there's just so many different options, like for couples, and I'm guessing, I don't know, Violet doesn't really like what I do, so she questions what I do more than likes it. But there's so many options out there. Why insurance, or why was that the thing to kind of gravitate towards?
I had gotten recruited by a large insurance provider, and went through some training with them, and the sales side of it wasn't really natural to me because I didn't come from a sales background.
I do.
But Tori, she came from a sales background, and when that carrier didn't work out with them, and we decided that I probably need to go independent with some more options. We discussed it with her sales background, her real estate background, and it just seemed like a natural fit.
Yeah, and I did find that curious, and we'll get to the real estate in Vegas thing, but so we talked about sales a little bit too, and the CEO Network really just started from this premise of like unconventionality. We started on Saturday mornings. We started with coffee and water, not alcohol. And there was a point there where we were only serving, vegan meals, like nothing meat related, no cheese, anything. And I found a vegan chef to do that. So Chef Carmen. So if you really want a vegan chef, she specializes in vegan foods, and she made this really cool like kale and like corn salad. It was like really good. So FYI, Chef Carmen.
I need her card.
but and I forgot why I was transitioning off that. But really what it comes down to is I found in sales, relationships are really what quantifies that long-term success. It's not, and we were talking about that before the show, where if you approach somebody with an agenda, sometimes it doesn't always work out because if you go up to somebody and you're just spitting off insurance stuff. Not everybody lives in that world or really connects with that. So you have to think of something outside of that. What's going on in your life, and your previous careers in real estate. I don't know how many what that connection was, or
I've been doing real estate for 17 years. Yeah. So business relation. The thing about real estate too, it's like everybody in Arizona does real estate, or some way somehow they know someone in real estate, either from title or insurance or.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody has a little connection. So. Those are the connections that I think we're trying to build with the Goosehead, and trying to merge people and build connections, more connections like that.
So, were you ever on a Las Vegas show or anything like Las Vegas Saving Sunset Las Vegas?
No, when I was younger, I wanted to be part of the real world, Las Vegas, and I think where they filmed this show was pretty right next to where my building is.
Oh yeah, MTV's Real World.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they all throw 8 people in a house together
Yep.
and they're all supposed to figure each other out.
I always wanted to be in that when I was younger.
Oh.
Sounds terrible.
But now when you get older, yeah. But when you're younger, like you're gonna do crazy things like that.
But the how long were you agent in Vegas for?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And did you do a lot of transactions? I mean, did it resonate with you? I'm guessing because there's honestly a lot of people out there that think they're real estate moguls,
Yeah.
and they want to go out there like, oh man, I know so many people, I'm going to be slaying this real estate thing. Then they go out there and they realize it's not that easy.
The thing about Vegas, that is one
Yep.
thing. You either make it or you don't. It's as simple as that. You either go there and the first year you do have some sort of success and stuff, and
Yeah.
if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're like, pack. Because I mean, a lot of people move from LA to Vegas thinking it will be easier for them as well too, or from here, from Arizona, but yeah, it was fun seeing so many. Because I specialize in high rises in Vegas, so seeing so many hotels that actually have residential, I guess properties.
Yeah.
Even the MGM they have residential properties as well too, and I was able to tour a lot of them. I'm like. And most people are like, oh yeah, there's that's residential, because everybody thinks the Strip is nothing but like hotels,
Oh yeah.
and it's not. There's people that live there actually. I live there too.
So is that where you get your fashionista sense from?
No, I had that.
She's very stylish. I will say that every time I see Tori, she's got something going on. Like today's very sparkly.
Thank you.
And what's your favorite color?
I was just saying sparkles.
It's
glitter.
Literally glitter.
Everything and as long as it has glitter or sparkly, I'm good.
Oh
If
boy.
you get any of the cars that we have, there's glitter.
Is that what got your attention, Terry?
Glitter.
Yeah, definitely.
My favorite color is glitter too. But no, we're here talking about the kind of the transition of insurance and really that connection with it. And I guess if there was a learning lesson that the stuff that you've learned, I know you just started your business in August, but there's really a human component to everything that we do. There's very real, relatable things to do. Is there advice for some of these guys that are just starting or who want to get into insurance a little bit that you've learned so far?
Well, I think, obviously the first step is getting your licenses and all that stuff. But I think it's important to really pay attention to the carrier that you may be interested in, either representing or working for, because sometimes there's advantages to being captive versus independent and vice versa. So that's probably I would say that would be something to pay attention to.
Yeah, because I've never really tapped into insurance. I mean, it's something that I know you need when you need it. But for the most part, I think a lot of people get discouraged, and especially in this economy right now, we can get into economy a little bit. People start using, I think for businesses, one of the first things they do is cut their marketing budget. But for personal finance, when you're talking about like where can I cut expenditures, insurance tends to be the one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially like with car insurance. Because like most people only, if they're not making that much money, they're not going to get collision. They're not going to get comprehensive. They're just going to get liability, and that's it, because that's the state requirement.
Right.
And I mean, I know you're not here to plug or sell anything because everybody's situation is different.
Right.
What's your take on insurance? And obviously it gravitates to you a little bit. The need and why people should get insurance.
Well, I think the most important thing is to protect your assets. Yeah. That's why you have insurance, and to protect you from liability in the event of an at-fault incident or accident. So it's where you're at in your stage of life really should dictate the level of insurance that you have. If you're you don't have a lot and you drive an older car that's not worth very much, you may be okay with state minimum. But if you're driving a lifted, you name it, pickup truck that's worth $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, state minimum is not where you need to be. And I think a lot of people miss that, and they go for the price. And a lot of times, in the last few weeks, we've written policies where we can 10 times somebody's coverage over state minimum to a $250, $500 policy, and actually save them money because of the number of carriers that we have. So there are lots of options for every different type of situation for every different type of driver.
Is there any particular why Goosehead versus like some of the other carriers? You know, because like when you think insurance, you kind of think the bigger name carriers and stuff. You know, why Goosehead for you guys?
Technology was one of the like the huge things that they have. Technology, and then the customer service that they offer as well too with the technology. And I think that was. And then I think overhead was one of the. I guess when you're trying to open an office, you forget that you have overhead as well too. So. Yeah. We didn't need that, at least for the first year, to have an office that we can actually work from home as well too. We're not required to just have this huge overhead and have employees already when we first start, because it is hard just starting a new business. So that was the main thing, was that no overhead, and then technology. Yeah, and the carriers too.
Yeah, with some of the captive carriers, they require you to have your own customer service people to manage your own your book of business. And with Goosehead, we have a service team that's available to us, and it's just their whole focus is customer service, cradle to grave. You call them for a service question, and you talk to one person, and they take care of your case until it's finished. It's not, you don't get pushed through. You passed on to the next person, and on and on and on. They help you. And they take care of the situation.
So is there any like one of those stories that you have to tell, like you should never do or do and have insurance for? Is there like one of those ones where like you should have gotten insurance? You know, like those commercials, like, well, you know, we covered this insurance because this happened.
Well, you're one of your friends. Just recently.
Oh, true. I mean,
we won't say the friend's name.
No,
but,
the thing is, it's having the proper coverage. Even myself, I didn't know much about insurance before getting into this as well too. Like, I didn't know what a 2050 or 2550 limits, and even now, like I think with that, most people, if you ask them, they're like, oh, I have full coverage. What's full coverage? Like, what is the word full coverage to you? I mean, there's a limit to a coverage too, though.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, I have full coverage," they think that if someone comes, they have like all the amount in the world to cover for that loss. So that to me, that's full coverage. Yeah, that's not the case. I think being underinsured, it's the biggest thing in Arizona as well too. So to that, a lot of people are driving underinsured. Not necessarily one specifically, but like any of my friends. But but yeah, no, that's the major thing. Like,
so no funny
juicy
story.
stuff.
I was hoping for something catastrophically juicy, where it's like, well, we can't say her name, but Tiffany, she really needs to like figure her shit out. Just kidding.
I told my friends about the podcast, so they might be watching too. So.
Oh, is that the people watching it now? So if you have any comments or questions for Terry and Tori, drop them in there, even if it's a funny line, or if you're Tiffany and you got caught not having insurance or not enough coverage, please drop a line and defend yourself right here. We're starting to get sweaty. But no, you know, starting off, you know, in as a couple, and like I said, it has its challenges, especially just in the relationship in itself. And you guys have kind of taken this on, and again, it seems like you guys are always together, always like managing. I see you guys like synonymous. I mean, it's really nice, kind of. To have that.
Well, we have kind of a running joke at home. So we have a 2-story house, and the offices are upstairs. So we say that the first floor is the HR free zone, and the upstairs is the HR zone.
Where's the bedroom then?
Downstairs.
Oh,
we have a downstairs master, so that works out perfect too.
So the transition is the stairs, right? Mm-hmm. You go into employment, very serious mode, and then downstairs. Unserious mode. And the funny thing is, you know, it wasn't too long ago I called you guys up, and I forgot what the context of the conversation. You guys were having breakfast, and that's one of the nicest things is like it's starting as a couple and having a career together, is that you can have those moments where, like for me, I'm always rushing out the door, and Violet tends to wake up like about a minute before she has to go to work, all online. You know, and you guys were just making breakfast, and I heard you were making eggs. What's your best meal that you go? What's your go-to, like hands down? Got to make it because Terry loves this shit.
The green chilaquiles or tacos. Yes. Like he likes my chicken tacos as well too. Yes. But the chilaquiles for sure. I make a really really good green salsa.
And did you bring any today?
No.
She's fired. She's off the show. We're gonna get her out of here.
I'll bring some next time.
At least the plates, you know. Are you Hispanic by chance?
I am. I'm Mexican.
I
was born in Mexico.
It is in your nature. It is. I'm Mexican too.
You
have to bring a plate. That's just wherever you go, you bring a plate.
I'll bring some. I'll bring tamales next time. My mom does make like.
If you
really
insist.
It
is Christmas.
Her
yes.
mom makes
Just the season.
incredible tamales. Incredible. I've had a lot of tamales, and some are just better than others. So, and her mom's are, it's the best tamales I've ever had. So,
I will.
I will put my mom. So
I will put that to the test. My barometer is my grandma, so everything goes off of that. So if you make a good beans, then I'm trusting you with anything else. So. But no, relating it back to insurance, why insurance for you guys? I think is really the ultimate question. There's, like I said, so many things that you could get into. And obviously you go biking, and you said you're getting into mountain biking too. We can talk about that in a minute. But why has it always been? Why did we land on insurance?
Another one, I guess one other reason that we decided to do is because we were trying to incorporate things that we like doing, and be part of the business as well too. And Mr. Terry Vincent over here loves cars, so especially classic cars. And I'm like, oh. We can go to shows, like we just recently went to the one in Williams, and we were there to promote the business and insurance because not a lot of carriers do classic insurance. But it's also because we took his car, and it was to compete as well too. So it was like a little bit of work,
gas
a little
car
bit
or
of
electric car.
No gas. He has a 1982 Sentra.
Yeah, Nissan Sentra. It's an SER model. It's way far from stock.
It's
kind of to see. I'm not a car guy.
A lot of people wouldn't know what it was, but there might be a few people that are like, "Oh, I had one of those."
But when they came in, I'm like, "What do you guys like to talk about?" And they're like, "Cars and fashion." I'm like, "Shit, those are two topics I know the least about." If there was a go-to car, though, what would it be? Like that is the one on the checklist I got to get in my lifetime.
Nissan GTR.
I know that
R35.
one.
Oh, you're a Japanese kind of guy.
All Nissan.
So I always envisioned these things. I'm like, I try to be bigger than what I am, and I have this vision where I'm like, I'm this mechanic, and I wanted to rebuild the 65.5 Mustang or 64.5 Mustang, and from scratch, paint it, get all the new engine. I'm like, no, I don't have the time or the wherewithal to really learn, and then plus all the little parts and stuff. Do you really get into it, like knee deep into it?
Yeah, actually, last summer, in the interim of, getting involved with insurance, I spent a bunch of time at a friend's shop, and he does classic car restoration. So did a bunch of metal work. Actually worked on a 65 Mustang. We put a new gas tank in it, fuel system, and got it running, and we pulled the transmission and did a bunch of stuff on that. So. Yeah,
that's the stuff I've always wanted to learn, and really it plays back to this like childhood sense of me, like connecting with my dad, and he's been gone for a couple of years now, so you kind of remember those moments. You're like, man, if I would have had that moment. Yeah. So is that part of why you're connected to that too, or is
no? My stepdad, he was a car guy, had a body shop when I was growing up, but to be fair. I didn't really get into the cars until when I went into the military, and we had a shop that was on base, and I bought a car, and I needed to work on it. I needed to learn how to fix it, so that's kind of where it started.
So you're a vet then?
Yes, Air Force veteran, 4 years, served about a little over 8 months in Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
And do you have any connection back to that? I mean, are you part of any kind of vet programs? Because I know a lot of vets tend to stick together and be a part of like a group, I guess, because it's a whole thing to go through, right?
It is.
Or is that a touchy subject?
It's not super touchy, I don't think, for me, but I have some close personal friends that I'm been friends with for over 30 years, but I never really got into too much advocacy or any of the groups or any of that stuff. I just kind of, once I got out, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Let's move on with my life and, kind of go from there. But my best friend, my best man for my wedding we were roommates in the Air Force, and he actually retired as Chief Master Sergeant. So.
Oh, so you guys are married?
What's that?
You guys are married?
Yeah, we got married on two.
Oh shit!
Seriously, and a Tuesday.
I need to write this shit down.
What?
I don't like.
We have surprises for you. That's why we have to leave those.
I'm still waiting for the tamales, and they dropped them. We're married bomb. I didn't know you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! How long have you guys been married?
Seriously, we got married in 2/2/2 on a Tuesday. We call it Tuesday instead of a Tuesday.
2/22.
And it was a Tuesday. Literally, it was a Tuesday.
Oh, shit. That's luck.
Yes.
That's a lot of twos.
That date, that was the date, and that was what we worked towards. So.
Yeah. And most people are like, "Oh, why a Tuesday?" I was like, "Why not?"
It's unique. It was.
Well, shit. I got
special.
we had a date planned, and then we got screwed out of that date, and then they screwed out another date, so we ended up December 18th, which is like the worst holiday. You know. 18th. Well, it's right next to Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's like I get out of having to buy 2 gifts, so that's kind of cool. I mean, there's some benefits there, but no, I want to thank you guys for coming on. We're on the last tail end of things, you know. I guess I'll do this first. So, we're gonna put your information up here. So if you guys like what you're hearing from Terry and Tori, find them here on Goosehead Insurance, Vincent and Ayala Agency.
That's correct. Yes.
You gotta throw the dash in there or QR code. You can follow them a little bit. Also contact them at 623-259-6427. Goosehead Insurance, Vincent and Ayala Agency.
And to just add on the QR code, if you do scan it and you put in your information, it only comes to us. You will not get 50 phone calls from 50 different agents trying to sell you insurance. It only comes to us.
Well, that's a big thing. I mean, especially coming off the elections. Like, I am so glad that the spamming and the whole, like, I was literally, if you open up your mailbox, you're getting like 50 ads a day. And that was driving me. So I'm thankful. Just like we were talking about that before the show.
Well, there's no more TV ads, so that's a huge thing.
Things have calmed down a little bit.
Are you guys into politics? We said no politics. So I was trying to avoid that, but.
Well, now that you're talking about it.
Listen, Carrie Lake. No, I'm just kidding. We won't go into that either. I don't want to get into either side. I'm very neutral, by the way. But you know, the philosophy behind what you guys want to do, you know, the one profound thing is everybody gets into this for their own personal reasons. You know, do you guys want to share why you're doing this and why you want to move forward and how you're trying to help people?
Okay, I'll go first. Like you said, I've been doing sales in real estate. I've seen really bad realtors and I've seen really good realtors, and I try to be the really good realtor that explains to people why they should use either me, or even if they don't, like, out of anything, at least I want them to know something that they didn't know about insurance, for example. Like, even with real estate, my favorite thing was giving the keys to a buyer, first-time buyers, especially just like showing so many houses, and then you're like, oh, here's your key, like, wow. Yeah. And still being part of, I guess, real estate, because we do deal with first-time buyers as well too, and I love to explain to them, okay, this is why you should have insurance, and this is why it's necessary and important as well too. So I like to teach people, right, rather than just here, you have to take this. Yeah.
What about you, T-Money?
Well, you know, I think for me, the insurance, honestly, it didn't really come natural. It was just kind of this. It was an organic thing that happened. I got recruited, like I said, by a captive carrier, and I really like the idea of being able to help people and learn something that, you know, a lot of people just take for granted. It's like, okay, well, like, you know, like Tori said, well, I have full coverage, but what does that mean? And so to be able to help people, whether it's, you know, putting them in a policy that works best for them, or even give them the information so they can call their agent and say, hey, I need to improve my coverage because I feel like I have some exposure. So I think that's
what's happened before too, that we do give them that knowledge that, like, again, you don't have to come with us, but at least for you to know that you need a little more coverage for a home or for an auto.
And so I guess we'll end the show a little bit with you, Miss Tori.
What did I do now?
Oh, well, I mean, you're the cutest one here, so we'll have to give you the floor. We'll wrap up a little bit, but if there was something that you wanted to tell people and share with them that is very personal or profound to you, what would that be? And you have the floor. Look right in the camera.
Personal or profound?
Or whatever, you know, something on your mind that you always wanted to share and just tell people that it's either part of you or something they should know and relate to.
I would say, like I said, I'm an open book. I think I try to pour my heart on my sleeve, but I have a little side of me that I'd like to just sometimes keep it to myself as well too. I don't know. It's hard to talk about yourself like when there's a camera right there.
Well, when people are staring at you,
Yeah.
they can watch this
I'm
forever.
looking at you and him, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Put him in the spotlight like that.
Well, there's only 3 spotlights in here.
See,
They're all over us.
It's starting to get hot again.
No, and I guess I will conclude with the fact that every time we've talked, it's always been in a genuine sense. And by all means, if you're out there looking for insurance, please contact Terry and Tori. Always come off as genuine and always come off as sincere. And the impression that I get is that they want to really help. So if you want to log in, I'll put it up one more time. Goosehead Insurance, Vincent and Ayala Agency.
That's what I should have done. So I was kidding.
Oh, did I steal your thunder? I didn't mean to steal thunder. But I want to thank you guys for coming in. It's been a delight. You guys have been members for us for the last couple of months, and every time I see you, it's always with smiles. It's always with this sense of sincerity. So, again, I appreciate your time with us here. So,
Thank you.
As we end up the show today, we will be saluting you guys off to greater pastures. But come meet Terry and Tori at the next event. I think, we haven't set up the calendar yet. So log into rconetwork.com, select the little calendar button at the bottom, and you'll be following us and get to meet them live at our next event. So until you guys.
Thank you.
Until next time. See you guys later.